Greetings, everybody. So today we are going to discuss about the fuel cell. Now, fuel cell basically it is a single type of cell, which means it is a single individual unit, which is a stock of chemical energy, such that when we are going to discuss it, it represents a terminology which is fuel. So first and foremost, it is a galvanic cell, which means it converts chemical energy into electrical energy. And here within the galvanic cell, it is a fuel cell, such that fuel refers to the word of burning, just like if we are burning a fuel, right? If whenever we burn some sort of fuel, let's suppose we are having gasoline. If you're burning gasoline, uh, fuel within our cars, then our cars get the energy out of that fuel. If we eat food, so out of that food, glucose are burned in the body. So as a result of that combustion process occurring within the body, that causes to ignite energy within a body. Now, in that case, similarly, we are having the burning of a fuel, such that there is uh, burning of a fuel, such that, and what is that fuel? That burning of fuel would be known as combustion, and that would be occurring in the presence of oxygen, which means one compound which would be formed would be oxygen, and if there's burning, there will be carbon dioxide and water produced, right? Now, the fuel which we are going to utilize in this process would be hydrogen, while other fuels can also be utilized, such as methane, ammonia, NH3, and N2H4. These are some fuels which are alternatives for it, but we are going to utilize the hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. Hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. Now this fuel cell is made in such a manner, it is divided into three compartments. First compartment, these three compartments are made by two electrodes which are porous cavity electrodes. There are two electrodes which are having porous cavity inside them, which are porous cavity carbon electrodes, such that these are made up of carbon, graphite, and these are having porous cavity inside them. Now, porous cavity causes to saturate the gases which we are going to insert in them, right? So these electrodes basically divide the cell into three parts. First part includes the region. This is the first part. This is what we call as the pipeline, or the supply from which we gain the hydrogen gas, and this is a pipeline from which we gain oxygen gas. Now the pipeline from which we gain the hydrogen gas, we are having um, a plate within that pipeline of hydrogen, and that plate of which is present within that pipeline of hydrogen is known as platinum plate. And platinum basically acts as a catalyst. Reason behind it is that we are going to utilize it as a catalyst, and we can also use palladium, as well as we can also utilize cobalt oxide. So these are the catalysts. The one which you're going to utilize here is platinum, and on the other side, oxygen will be released from that side. And in between them, we are having a electrolyte. Electrolyte which we are going to utilize is a strong electrolyte, and that electrolyte is a strong base, because we want to maintain alkaline medium. So for that, we have sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. We are going to utilize potassium hydroxide in this case. So when we're going to utilize potassium hydroxide, then there will be accumulation of potassium ions, OH ions within the solution, right? Now this reaction within the cell can only occur if there's a continuous supply of hydrogen and oxygen at a given moment, which means within this process, uh, there will be two things obtained out of this process. First includes the water, such that first we'll get the water molecules as a byproduct, uh, and second process involves electrical energy. And now let's see how it actually happens. Now, as we know that hydrogen basically, uh, let's suppose if we are having two electrodes. Now, let's suppose if we take this electrode, yellow electrode, which is having hydrogen. Now that hydrogen one electrode is basically having a catalyst which is known as platinum. Now platinum is a characteristic that it can break the bonds of hydrogen and then convert the hydrogen molecule into hydrogen atom, which means instead of two hydrogen molecule, we can say that we can gain four hydrogen atoms out of it. So these four hydrogen atoms obtained out of it will be basically utilized or made with the help of the catalyst. Now these four hydrogen atoms are in unstable form, because molecular form is the stable form and atomic form is the unstable form. Now here, as there is unstable form, this unstable form will tend to cause the hydrogen to become stabilized by losing its one electron, which means it is in the atomic form, so it will lose its one electron and now become a proton, such that it will become hydrogen proton or hydrogen ion. When it will become hydrogen ion, the reaction occurring at uh, this point at yellow electrode would be considered as a oxidation reaction, because the hydrogen is causing to have a loss of its electron, due to which the reaction which would be occurring at the yellow electrode would be the loss of electron or oxidation, due to which this electrode would be considered as oxidation. So we can say that oxidation would be occurring at the cathode, oxidation would be occurring at the electrode where the hydrogen gas is supplied, and reduction would be occurring at the electrode where the oxygen gas is supplied. Right, otherwise when it comes to cathode can be recognized by oxygen gas, and anode can be recognized by the hydrogen gas, right? So this is how we classify. And coming to the point now, what would be the reaction at anode? Reaction at anode would be in such a manner that here, first of all, it would be a redox reaction occurring. Of course there is a combustion process occurring, but that would be in form of a redox reaction, such that there would be oxidation and then reduction, as a result of which there would be release of energy that would be converted into electrical energy. And one more thing, that the water molecules which are produced through the fuel cell, these are utilized by astronauts in space programs to gain water, because at that moment they are not having some bulk of water for drinking or doing some other sort of recreational purposes, but they are having fuel cells through which they gain the water, and they are able to then utilize them for their purposes in the space. As well as it is also utilized in some American space programs and other such programs which are relevant to space technology something. So what we're going to discuss is about its significance here. I mean, first its mechanism and then significance. And here at anode, the reaction occurring would be in such a manner that we are having hydrogen. Now hydrogen basically now will be converted into four protons. Two hydrogen would be there actually. Two hydrogen would be converted into four protons, and as a result of these four protons being formed, these four protons, and there will be release of four electrons, right? And on the other hand side, these four protons released will, what will they actually do? These are four protons, so they will take you know uh, four they will take four OH ions from the solution, such that in solution we are having OH ions and potassium ions. So in that case we are going to take OH ions, so they will react with four OH ions, four OH ions, and as a result they will cause to four water molecules, because water molecules are what? They are made up of H and OH ions. So one water molecule is made up of one H and OH ion. That is why these are amphoteric molecules, right? So this is the basic formula. After that, what we are going to do is combine both the equations. When we are going to combine both of these equations, what we'll actually gain is that when we combine the equations, the equation will be in such a manner that here hydrogen will be cancelled out, because hydrogen sorry, protons will be cancelled out because these are equal and opposites on opposite side, and on the other side we will be getting 4 OH would be there, and rest we will be gaining 4 H2O molecules, and 4 H2O molecules, and moreover there will be 4 electrons. Now we are not going to write the 4 electrons over here, because these 4 electrons will be now transferred to the cathode, from the anode to the cathode through the external circuit which is connected. Now when it would be transferred, this process will occur due to the electronegativity of oxygen, because oxygen is more electronegative, 3.5 as its electronegativity, and hydrogen has 2.1 as its electronegativity, due to which it will attract the electron towards it, as a result of which the electron will tend to move from the anode to cathode, and thus will cause you know to perform electron flow, and as a result of electron flow there will be generation of electricity. And on the other hand side, when electrons will be received by the cathode, at cathode cathode we are having oxygen. So when oxygen will be receiving those four electrons, let's suppose oxygen has received those four electrons. So these four electrons, when the oxygen receives those four electrons, what actually happens is that we know that structure of oxygen is in such a manner that here this is the oxygen molecule, double bond is there, and if we are supposed to give them electrons, so when we are going to give them four electrons, then oxygen tend to break their double bond will be breaking, because they get some sort of uh, appreciation, some sort of acknowledgement, some sort of reward on the other hand side, due to which they tend to break their bond, as a result of which, as they are having 6 electrons in the outermost shell, they're having how many electrons? 6 electrons, right? So as a result of which, when they will break their bond, they will become oxygen atoms, and these oxygen atoms, as having 6 electrons, will require 2 more electrons. So these 2 more electrons will be taken inside one oxygen atom, and other oxygen atom will gain other 2 electrons. As a result of which, there will be formation of two oxygen anions, and these would be divalent anion, because they would be having double negative charge, due to which they would be divalent anion. So in that case, the this reaction will lead to the formation of two oxygen, oops, two oxygen anion, right? So this is how the oxygen anion will be formed. And once this is formed, next part basically involves, you know, as the two oxygen anions are formed, these two oxygen anions now will tend to react with two H2O molecules. And we know that H2O molecules, basically these are composed of what? H2O molecules are generally composed of H and OH ions. This is H, this is OH, right? This is H, this is OH, right? Okay. So when oxygen is having double negative charge, so what it will do, it will tend to combine with this H, and another oxygen will combine with this H, due to which it will tend to break the bond, and there will be formation of 4 OH molecules. 4 OH will be formed. So 4 OH formed on this side. So the reaction, the net reaction occurring in this case would be 2 oxygen. We can just sum them up. When we are going to, combine both equations, the equation will become in such a manner that two oxygen anions on both sides will be cut down, and rest of the equation which we would be getting would be oxygen plus 4 electron plus 2 H2O is equals to 4 OH ions. So this would be the reaction at cathode, which would be a reduction reaction. That would be an oxidation reaction. However, we can consider this as a direct approach, that instead of writing the entire equation at anode, we can simply say that hydrogen is oxidized to water, and on cathode, oxygen is reduced to OH. So this can be a simple explanation for this process overall as well, right? And now, some other part, cell reaction, the total cell reaction occurring over here would be obtained by combining both of these equations. And you're going to combine this equation, right? This is equation 1, this is equation 2, right? When we are going to combine, this is at anode, this is the equation which is at cathode, right? So when we are going to combine both of these, we will see that here we are having oxygen which is uncommon, two hydrogen, two hydrogen, and rest electrons will be cancelled out with electrons. OH ion cancelled with OH ion, H2O cancelled with H2O, due to which the number of H2O, net H2O gained would be 2 H2O molecules. 2 H2O molecules will be gained, which means 4 H2O molecules are formed during oxidation, and 2 H2O molecules are, utilized during reduction. As a result of which, the net gain of H2O molecules is 2 H2O molecules throughout this redox reaction, and this would be the final equation occurring. And of course, that appears a combustion reaction, but behind this there is a redox reaction occurring. And one more thing, that this reaction occurs at a very high temperature. Fuel cells occurs at very high temperature, due to which the water which is obtained would be in a form of steam, and that can also, come back into its state of liquid by condensation process. One more thing, the amount of energy which electrical energy given would be 0.9 volt from a single cell, as well as it is a very effective cell, which means it produces 75% of the bond energy of the molecules is, converted into electrical energy, which is, a higher ratio, a very high ratio. Moreover, when it comes to some other characteristics, it does not cause any environmental pollution, such that it has no pollutants are, released in this case, because there's only, combination of hydrogen and oxygen, so there are no pollutants released, and this process can prolong till the manner oxygen and hydrogen gases supplied, and also there is no need to replace the electrolyte within it. So this is how the reaction actually occurs. And in space there are, multiple fuel cells which are combined together sometimes as well in order to produce a higher electrical power in kilowatt hours, in kilowatts, sorry. So this is the thing, and this is also utilized nowadays in electric vehicles, as we are having, in Tesla and all such, BMW and Mercedes. All of these are basically having the fuel cell stack over them. These fuel cell stack basically, tends to produce electrical energy by utilizing uh, the hydrogen and oxygen gas, as well as it tends to make the system remain cool down. Reason behind it is that the system remains cool down because of the H2O being produced. So this is the reason it is being cooled down. The system remains cool down in electric vehicle, as we might have checked the engine. So the system is usually cooled down. And apart from that, uh, this reaction can also occur with methane, as well as N2H4, as well as ammonia. Just we need to, replace all the substituents of hydrogen, and we'll get the answer. So this is all about this video. Hopefully we'll meet again another